Any minute now, sirens will be blazing. It's the best I could do on short notice. And you will see the way the Los Angeles Fire Department, thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, what you're seeing now is a 911 phone call has been made and an accident has been reported.
Steve Ruda, ladies and gentlemen.
What you're seeing now is when the dispatchers ask a number of questions about how many people are injured, give us a brief description, because based on your phone call, we're getting as much information as necessary. So when the firefighters come on scene of a traffic accident, obviously we have a car that's probably a lot more mangled than this Malibu, and we've got a very serious situation. So just for the sake of this drill and demonstration, we brought the truck company up close and personal. Normally we keep a safety zone around the accident site, because what might we have in is that we have a tank that's full of fuel, and there's gasoline, so we have to mitigate the system. We got to make sure that we're working in a safe environment. We don't want to bring victims to the incident. So you can see the firefighters all working together. You have an engine company with Captain Mike Oberholzer. He's got scene safety. A battalion chief is also assigned to the incident, and he brings his knowledge of being able to be a resource guide and a situational guide, so that the firefighters can ask the chief for more help. Let's say they need another hook and ladder company. So the tools that you're seeing that are being brought out here, we've got firefighters and paramedics that are dedicated to the patient, because the patient is the first priority of a physical rescue. These are the tools and equipment that you'll see carried on all hook and ladder companies and some engine companies around the city. And due to your generosity and kindness, some of the areas in the city, some neighborhoods, have purchased extra jaws of life to be able to have on their emergency apparatus, so that the first firefighters on scene can use these tools and equipment to pop doors, making sure that it doesn't move. You see that the firefighters has blocked the car from moving, because we don't want to have any systems move, and now we've got a moving car down the road. Paramedics are inside the vehicle with the patient. They're doing what's called C-spine precaution because we don't know how badly hurt this injury is. There might be injuries to the neck, the back, the body, so we sustain life. So sustaining life is extremely, extremely important. So the firefighters are using the jaws of life to cut open the door, to break windows necessary, and you can see that as the firefighters are working in front of you. So at any time, if you have any questions about what's going on, just raise your hand and I'll come over with my mic and talk to you about what particular question that you might have.
Or on this side too. Anybody with questions? Anybody wondering what they're doing? Raise your hand. Oh, here we go. What's your name?
My name is Roberto.
And well, what's your question?
My question is...
So who would like to see this car turn into a convertible within 30 seconds? All right, we can do that. Anybody want to volunteer any other cars back there? Nope. All right, we'll just work on the Malibu for now.
Steve, we have a question over here, and you were asking what?
I was saying that what's going to happen after when the person's inside? What's going to happen after?
He gets taken out of the car?
I think so.
Okay, well, that'll work. I think number one is we'll have a very cheap car for somebody to purchase here today. Aside from that, Steve, as I understand it, the victim in this case will be taken out by the fire department and what? And
Well, the paramedics are assessing the victim. So obviously, if he keeps stabilization on the victim, they talk to them, they keep them calm, they let them know, if you can imagine the excitement and the adrenaline and your blood pressure shooting through the roof because you're trapped in a vehicle and you watch so much TV. It's always on TV, you're going to have a major explosion in any moment.
Exactly.
And that's not always the case. The situation is being able to be calm, listen to the firefighter, paramedic. The firefighters, they'll be very, very concerned and compassionate and understanding that you're scared to death. Let's face it, if you're caught in a car and it's trapped and it's very surgically being removed from a vehicle and making sure that other firefighters are protecting all the area around you, so if there is flammable liquid on the ground, that does not ignite. Because when you have gasoline on the ground and you get an ignition source, what are you going to get? So here's my scientist. He told me that the thing that you're going to get if you have gasoline on the ground and a source of ignition, you're going to get?
Fire.
Oh boy, fire. There's our new recruit for 2028. All right. But anyway, we're just showing you some of the things that we do here. And firefighters practice every single day. We come on duty at 6:30 in the morning. Most of the firefighters are there earlier, sometimes 5:30 and 6. If you look at the uniforms that they're wearing, these are the fire-resistant turnout coats, turnout pants, helmet, goggles, and that's the most important thing that you see. God only gave us 2 eyes. We can't go to 31 flavors if we lose an eye and say, give me a scoop of blue eye. So we keep eye protection on at all times. On their hands, you'll see their gloves working. You see they're protective, like the paramedics, they have rubber gloves on to protect them from any blood pathogens or the blood that could cause injury to the firefighters later. So every day, the firefighters have classroom work. They have a physical fitness program that they have to maintain. Then they have a drill. Right in front here you see the number 87 with his name on his back. That's Captain Anbarian. He's working as a firefighter today. He has an axe on his side, so if necessary, he can use that axe to help with extrication. So the key to this is working together. And remember, I talked to a young guy that's having his birthday today. He's a mechanical engineer at Cal State Northridge, which is in Fire Station 70's district. Here in the city of Woodland Hills, the closest firehouse is Fire Station 84, just around the corner. They have a jaws of life, but they don't have the personnel. They only have 4 firefighters. Here, this particular fire station 87, under the command of Joe Schrar and Captain Ambarian, Brian Hampton, Stevie Perez. Those are the captains in charge of these 12 firefighters that work there. So every day at Fire Station 87, these firefighters leave their homes with their families and their children, and they work a 24-hour shift. So these firefighters came on this morning at 6 o'clock this morning. They'll work until tomorrow, Sunday morning at 6, when they'll be relieved by another set of company. So on an average, in the city of Los Angeles, we respond to over 400,000, almost 500,000 emergency calls every year. Now, when the time is right, like during the summer, or it's a very, very warm or hot day, we'll receive over 2,000 to 3,000 911 phone calls. And we respond on an average day to 1,600 emergency calls from people that need medical help to sometimes the worst case scenario that we have a physical rescue. You can see how they open that side of the door there and able to get the patient out. Remember that our main priority is the patients. And sometimes you have a car that is unbelievable. Around the corner, get a chance to look at what we call our heavy rescue. And the heavy rescue is a gigantic tow truck that you're able to use multiple jaws of life. Here's the firefighters. How about a round of applause? They get that firefighter out there. Now the great nurses and the doctors in the emergency room, and maybe we have some here today with their cars for their hobby, and that we are in communication via the radio, and we let them know, the doctors and the nurses, that we have a 42-year-old male who has suffered a catastrophic car accident with major trauma. So they are waiting for them at the hospital. And if necessary, like for example, if this accident happened here in the park, we could land a helicopter right here in the park, and we can put this patient and fly them to area hospitals like Northridge Hospital, Holy Cross, the Burn Centers, Children's Hospital in downtown LA. So let's take a look back at the car with your attention, and they're talking now. The firefighter, the tall, good-looking guy in the middle, that's Stevie Hall. You can see him directing his crew, discussing how they want to remove a patient. And sometimes all this is done with people still in the car. So if a firefighter has had a bad day the shift before, he can take out all his aggressions on a windshield. We'll just have to call Safe Life Repair, right? Come fix those windshields later. But the apparatus operator, he's responsible, he or she is responsible for driving Big Red there. That's known as a truck company. And those firefighters are commanded by a captain who sits in the front. Then you have a firefighter that's responsible for the tools and equipment. So every day, every Monday, all these power tools are started up, making sure they have enough hydraulic fluids, oils, fuel necessary to make these power equipment, because you don't want to see us out there pulling a cord, and nothing happens. You want us to be rapid, fast. So these firefighters, and we have a great chance to work with some of our great salvage yards here in the San Fernando Valley that donate these cars to us. So particularly on a weekend, especially like from 8 o'clock until noon, firefighters can practice their work with their tools, their equipment. Something unique about Fire Station 87, all of these firefighters almost have degrees in chemistry, because you've heard of our hazardous materials squad. Well, when you have a hazardous material, like for example, any material that is air reactive, corrosive, radiologic, flammable, water reactive, those are considered flammable liquids, are considered hazardous materials. So you need to have firefighters that not only know how to handle medical patients, but be able to fight fires in a home, a single-family dwelling, a commercial building, whatever the case, brush fires. But when we do have these big tankers, or we have cargo that has hazardous materials that are needed in our society, but sometimes there are car accidents or whatnot that these hazardous materials spill, and it's these firefighters that have to have the extra knowledge about how to deal with hazardous materials. So they're constantly drilling. We live in a society where now that you have nuclear, biological, and chemical threats, don't we? That the bad guys could use against our communities to hurt us. So if that particular situation happens, these firefighters can suit up in certain uniforms that protect them against these certain chemicals. So sometimes there'll be more patients that are needed, and now this turns into called an MCI, which is a multi-casualty incident. There are more patients, and sometimes you in the medical field, you'll see us on television, and the helicopters are flying above this incident, and you're looking down and you're seeing, well, what are these firefighters doing? Why do they need so many? Well, as you can see, we all work together as a team. We're like a family, brothers and sisters. So now they're ready to go ahead, work together, remove the roof, and now we've got a nice convertible for you. Now, what about problems with new electronics? The Teslas, the hybrids, that poses another problem for firefighters now. It's just not a gasoline combustible engine. Now we have battery packs. We've got pneumatic chisels that we use. We've got bumpers, hydraulic bumpers, without any notice, could let loose and can smash against a firefighter. We have bodies that are made out of magnesium. And magnesium is a chemical that is very, very reactive to water. So we have to know that if this is a magnesium body, we have to be very careful in how do we use water, because that just adds to the problem. So Volkswagens traditionally had magnesium blocks. The guys that are out here with their beautiful cars, they can tell you about certain dangers of your car. So how about a round of applause for your firefighters from Fire Station 87? You know, every day you're welcome. Every fire station throughout the city. In May, we just had open house, and we often say, you own this fire truck. You own it. You pay taxes, you pay our salaries, so we want you to have the best. And we're very grateful to have a fire chief and a city council and a mayor that has supported our firefighters in getting them enough fire.